Discussion and possible action regarding installation of street pedestrian lights.
Mayor, members of council, we approved the purchase of 7 additional pedestrian street lights this past March. We are hopefully going to receive them within the next week. Obviously, we would like to install them while we're in the midst of the slower season and we don't adversely impact any of the businesses during the higher season. So we'd like to get going on this. Received 2 quotes, and we got a quote from a local engineer, Robert Martino, who has done work in the past for the town of approximately $26,000. We did budget approximately $45,000, which included some additional work in the town center, so it's well within the capital project budget for the installation of these streetlights. We hope to have these installed within a couple weeks of receipt of those gas lamps. There's 1 additional light that will also be installed within the town hall parking lot behind the town hall.
Well, I'll be laying out with Robert Martino the exact locations that we came up with that Saturday. That's when they gave them the printer, so they can get their footage from the underground pipe work. Once we lay that out, then we call Blue Staking. You know, we gotta wait for Blue Stake to come and mark any utilities. We might have to tweak pole base, you know, a few inches or a foot or so here or there.
Just a technical question, I guess, Gary. If we're going to use the same specifications as we did in '08, prepared by the contractor, his contract with us precludes us from using those specs without his approval or some compensation to him.
That's not my recollection, and it's a typical standard as far as the specification for the foundation to install the lights. It's not his specific specification, it's a MAG specification.
It's a
That's
standard.
what we provided him.
Yeah.
It's on all light poles, depending on the height, the size of the pole. There's certain windage, it's all spec by windage. It doesn't change.
Before you proceed, please look over that $12,000 contract that we had for the engineer, and be sure and read the paragraph that addresses ownership of the specifications. Because it's very specific.
Well, once again, the specification for the foundation of the lights is a MAG specification. He doesn't own the MAG specification.
Discussion and possible action regarding purchase and installation of gardens walkway lights. Again, Mr. Neese, Councilman Miller.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. This is the installation of pathway lights within interior to the town gardens. We do have 3 that were installed that were donated by Let There Be Light many years ago as kind of a showcase of what these bollards would look like and the level of lighting that would be provided by these respective bollards. They have been very successful in lighting that area, preserving the dark skies similar to our pedestrian lights along our streets. So what we would like to do in association with the redevelopment of the gardens is light them at night, so that the patrons who are coming in and enjoying the gardens at night and the desert blooms at night, as we know, succulents typically bloom at night, can enjoy those and share it with their friends and family. So this is an addition of approximately 45 low-level bollard lights within the pathways of the desert gardens.
Gary, at the workshop, the council approved adding $9,000 for tree downlights. I was hoping, and I made quite a point of it, that while we're out there digging and stirring up traffic in the gardens, we would take that $9,000 or whatever Glenn feels. Glenn and I have talked about this a couple of times. It may not be that many because we have a limited number of trees. I want to make a motion to approve this, but to add at the same time a not to exceed number of $9,000 to do the downlights at the same time. Does that cause, Glenn, I talked to you about it,
That's,
since you and I talked about the trees.
Yeah, that, I'm somewhat flummoxed, I almost looked to the legal advice. That item is not on the agenda tonight to do those additional lights. The only thing is the down lights.
Now,
What I remember from our discussions on that was the lighting, was that we would hold off on the tree lights. Let's get the pathway lights in, and also there is some lights going underneath the bridges. So the bridges are lit up for safety, which will be a nice glow effect, which will look nice in the garden.
I know that was your recommendation.
We were gonna hold off, let's get all these pathway lights in, and the bridge lights, and then let's stand back and look at it and see where we might need additional lighting. And that was based on what does the sales tax, what does the revenue look like coming in. It hasn't been forgotten, it's just not part of it tonight.
Councilman Van Allen? Any further comments?
None that I can say in public.
I'd also like to mention that Let There Be Lights is donating, like the public know that, we know because we see it here in our proposal, but we're donating almost $1,000 worth of LED lamps for existing lighting that we have over at Town Hall, low voltage lighting, in the gardens yet, the flagpoles, and over at the firehouse. We change out and put in LEDs. That's $1,000 of material his cost, not that didn't even count his labor to have done this. As always, Let There Be Light always donates back a little bit to the community. We appreciate it, Brian.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Glenn has graciously accepted the idea of taking as many as a dozen of the mesquite or ironwood heavy-duty trees, not to include polyberry trees, and with Let There Be Light, install as many as 4.
3.
Then
3 is
use
the average.
3 down lights in each one of the dozen lights, or dozen trees, or thereabouts,
Yeah.
for a total amount, Gary, installed, correct me if I'm wrong, Glenn, 9,000.
Right.
Where are these trees?
Well,
Where are these trees?
Jimmy's walked him, he's got a pretty good idea. He's talked to me about it, and discussing, with a few of us, we think the best thing to do is get the light bollards in first in the walkways, get that lit up, and then let's see what trees we want to hit.